questions? David?
Yeah, I have a few. You stated, and it's also in the motion, that the buildings are overcrowded, deficient, and/or obsolete when compared to modern code and guidelines. Which of those buildings are you referring to?
All three.
Okay, but yet you're going to be moving students into the high school, is that correct?
That's right, because we're moving 4 grades out and 3 grades in. We're dropping the population by a projected 250 students.
Okay, so that solves the overcrowded piece.
Yes, sir.
What about the deficient or obsolete part?
Well, those would be the 2 middle schools. The high school is not deficient, nor is it obsolete. It's the 2 middle schools that are aging and have not been renovated. So those have deficiencies in electrical capacity. Ceilings are too low to be renovated. We can't do much with the ceiling configuration at Johnson Middle School. The heating systems are old.
Yeah, except I just asked you what buildings are overcrowded, deficient, and obsolete, and you said all 3, and now you're saying, I'm not sure that that's how the motion reads. The motion reads that all 3 are deficient and obsolete, and seems to be sending the wrong message to the state about the status of the high school.
Well, I mean, you have to look at the definition of obsolete. The high school is not obsolete for a middle school, but it is obsolete for a modern high school.
I certainly think that should be reworded. I did watch your meeting previously, and then I know the vote was 4-1. There was no real explanation as to the opposing vote.
You'll have to speak to that member.
So
I believe he wanted to investigate, he only wanted he voted in the affirmative for both middle schools. He did not vote for the high school SOI because I believe he prefers one new middle school.
And I noticed during that meeting that the size of the high school labs was addressed during that meeting. That issue came up a year ago at a joint finance and selectmen, and yet it was in the proposal that was presented to the school board.
Right.
And it was there was quite a discussion about it and a direction to correct that. Is that
Yes, sir, there was. In fact, I met you at the high school, and we personally had those rooms remeasured, and that has been included in the Johnson SOI, and it will be amended at the school committee meeting Thursday night. But it doesn't affect the vote at all, because that's not part of the vote language.
So, but you did not adjust the Walpole High School SOI?
I believe, Mr. Frischer? The high school, I apologize. I misspoke.
All right,
The high school was
Page 7 of the
adjusted.
copy I have still says 700 square feet, so.
Did you have the most recent? After
This
those
is the
measurements
packet
were
I picked
taken?
up in my office.
After I met with you, we revisited, we did
No.
update it to 900,
No,
and
well,
those were sent out.
well, the update should have occurred after the school committee meeting.
It did.
I don't know.
It did occur after the school committee meeting.
Page 4 of the Walpole High School study.
We did change 700 to 900.
Didn't you say 7?
Yeah, it said 7, right?
Oh, page 7, you said.
No, yes, page 7, I'm sorry.
Do you have 700 to 900? So that the other board members have?
I have 700.
You have 700.
Yeah.
So that would amend that to 900 square feet, page 7. Right, and that will be amended by the school committee. So
and
I'm
do we know
saying
how it
right
got
now that I'm asking you to vote in these 3 SOIs in totality, it would be 900 versus 700.
And do we, it's actually 986.
It's 883, I believe,
Okay.
which is about 900.
Did
Prep rooms that we haven't counted.
we know how that 700 got in the document to begin with?
You'd have to talk to Mr. Fisher. I'm going to throw him under the bus.
I think that was an estimate based on the timeline we had last year as we moved through the process and approached the deadline. We did take that as an estimate based on custodial measurements. When it was questioned this year, we decided to go up and remeasure it. Several of us remeasured it. I know you had come up and visited the high school. We remeasured it again. And rather than detail, because we have limited space here, we put an average of 900 square feet, which covered the approximate average.
So you're saying the custodians measured
I'm saying it
wrong.
was human error. I'll take full responsibility. You can
Well,
blame me.
I mean, we know that there are two labs that are 726 square feet, and those are the smallest two. But they measured all the other labs, which are 800 and 900,
Right.
and they only came up with 700.
It was human
Well-
error.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
been caught before it was submitted.
It's still
It's
not
very,
caught right
very
now.
minor in the scope of this overall initiative.
You know, it's not, because it's actually the only issue that I felt that, you know, my kid's taking chemistry right now, and I said, oh my God, these labs are undersized.
Okay.
Well, then, they're not. And there's an issue with, well, we want more space for, these benches are immovable. Well, let's make them movable, and we can have the space that you want, while my kid's still in the school, and not 5 years from now.
We'll take that under consideration.
The other, I mean, I know you keep bothering me about, you say, oh, parking's a minor issue, but it's all over this document. It says again that Johnson Middle School has a parking issue because of the vans that are there.
It's not because the vans are there. It
That's
has a,
what the document says. It
it
says
has- all right.
there's so many spaces, but because of I'll read it directly if you
The
want me to.
major issue with
Park-
Johnson
I'll read
is
it.
the...
Let me read it. This is how,
is the
I only know
drop-off.
what I know from the documents.
I have received many complaints about the drop-off is unsafe. We have to use the VFW, which we don't own. We can't control the parking configuration. We
Okay,
can't have the
that's
police...
a separate issue, but I'm
Mis-
just talking about parking for
Chief Carmichael
staff.
is here, can attest to that.
There are 105 parking spaces, including 3 handicapped and 1 visitor space for 69 staff members. 105, 69 staff members. Seems to work. However, it says, the school district currently uses approximately 35 spots for district-wide vehicles, i.e. vans, and employee parking. Even given that, there's still plenty of parking at JMS. So I see, I mean, really, from my perspective, I see and you hit it on the nail on the head earlier today. Natick has a new school, Norwood has a new school, Franklin has a new school, Stoughton's getting a new school, we need a new school. And you've created documents that have made that case, whether you have to write that the Stein slabs are 700 square feet, whether you have to write that the parking spaces are insufficient. That's what you're looking for. And despite say, oh, this is just a preliminary, and you also tell me this is preliminary, this doesn't bind us, we have other options. Well, this is the only option being presented. And, you know, I guess we've had this conversation before, and my frustration level has not changed, and I thank you for your consideration today.
Mark? Thanks. You know, as I was a year ago, I'm supportive of the plan.